Hello and welcome to a casted game here. This is a game between myself, helming the Skaven, versus Space Pope playing Nurgle. In this game, it's been a while since I've reported on the rats, so I wanted to provide an update on the schemes that I've been cooking, and not just myself, many other Skaven players, in an effort to make kind of Skaven weapons teams flourish in the current meta and to do something different. You'll see Ikeclaw on his Doom Wheel, kind of the Dark Lord of Clan Scryer for the Skaven, with Flensing Ruin on some type of Doom Wheel or something like that, prevailing in the meta for Skaven, and just not a lot of Skaven play in general. They're considered one of the weaker factions, so trying to make things work. For my army today, we've got a representation from just about every element of the Skaven world, in the sense that there are a bunch of different clans for Skaven. There's Clan Pestilence, providing the plague units. Clan Molder providing these terrifying monsters. You can see there seems to be like rats built on top of rats here for the terrifying Hell Pit Abomination. Clan Scryer provides the weapons teams like we have here. These guys will be throwing World War I era grenades later on. More Pestilence units here. We have, I believe, Clan Moors provides the Storm Vermin. These are the elite infantry. These guys will be providing anti-large, just in case my opponent went with some type of large rush of plague toads or trolls. These guys could be backing things up. More Clan Scryer technology going on here. And then the Master Assassin is here once again with another contract, possibly an assassination for my opponent's lord, for Clan Eshin. For spells, I'm bringing an interesting combo here. We have the Plague Caster with Plague, which is a very high damage vortex spell with no net ability. Like if you're familiar with the competitive scene, you'll have seen Pit of Shades, Banishment. These are damage spells that kind of suck up and trap enemy units as it hits them. Whereas Plague, the spell, doesn't do that whatsoever. So unit can pull away quite easily when you're casting it. So kind of as an interesting tech I gathered from player Valnir is to use the net ability of the Warp Grinder. The Warp Grinder is an interesting unit, has poor melee stats, won't hit much with 20 melee attack, but it has a built-in snare which will lock down units in the area, a little damage ability that then applies, but you can pair that snare with the Plague Vortex damage ability. Then Eshincasser with Veil of Shadows, just to cover my weapons teams with a little friendly Bubble Vortex. My Lord will be trying to snipe my enemy's Lord. For my opponent's Space Pope, helming Nurgle has a massive infantry, a very good tactic against Skaven, especially these Forsaken. Incredibly high non-AP damage, so you rush with a massive infantry, you smash into my lines, you tie up my weapons teams, and then my offensive output will shut down. His caster, he brought Curse the Leper, Steam Corruption, and he has the passive Children of Nurgle, so he'll be spamming spells, doing damage, triggering the healing passive to heal the HP of his wide army. So let's get into the action here. We're both going to capture our home objectives and then try and path our units on to capture the middle objective first. Looks like I have a decent amount of cap weight, so might get objective 2. Over here, his lord is probing the outskirts of my army, but the Hell Pit, a unit you don't see too often, and I'm not quite sure why, has tremendous anti-large stats. That bonus versus large is going to be applying to melee attack and damage, so this thing will really smack up his lord if he gets the opportunity. But my opponent with some nice micro there is kind of toying with me, baiting me out, so going to get me there. On the flank here, unit of the Demon Spew is going to take my home objective, with the Death Globes immediately doing half health on a Marauder unit. My opponent trying to dive in and shut down the weapons team. I use the Looming Dread ability from my Lord and send in the Hell Pit, so that's going to get some nice damage there. Another volley going down, melting a unit of Marauders, but my weapons teams are going to have to fall back. Over here, the net goes down on a unit of Marauders, so we're going to see what type of output we can get from the Plague here using their warp grinding abilities, and let's see what happens to the health bar there. You can see immediately that health bar is disappearing for that Marauder unit. So nice play there. Going to pick off one Marauder unit. These anti-infantry Plague Monks don't have armor piercing, but they'll do okay into Forsaken and units like that. My opponent diving deeper and deeper. These death globes, one volley can pretty much kill a unit, so you got to apply constant pressure. May have dived too deep here, though, as the Hell Pit is beating down on this Nurgle champion. You can see cool looking Nurgle sorcerer lord there. He's gonna be alright. He's actually terrified. Don't think I noticed that in game. If I had, I probably would have called out a Warhound unit and tried to run this guy down, but he'll be able to rally, and he does have healing, so he will likely be back. Veil of Shadows popping as these Furies dive onto the Death Globes. Gonna buy them a little time for me to get a counter in. Here I brought in the Plague Monk Censer Bearers, the elite infantry of Skaven. You can take these guys in Chaos Factions where there's not a ton of light shooting. They do a ton of damage on top of magic and debuff. So we'll be able to clean up these Furies who are demons who have a physical resist. But Warhound's coming in, going to clean up these Furies, going to keep my globes online. My opponent does send another unit though, so that will be pretty scary for those globes. Might have to fend them off the old-fashioned way without magic, just through melee. My opponent does have a triple cap, which is really scary right now. I do have the value lead. Their Sorcerer Lord does have an item that heals him passively, so he'll be chilling. He'll be coming back, watching the action. Just trying to clean up my backfield here. A Stream of Corruption, going to be a nice one. Going to hit my Censer Bearers. Also hit his Furies, which are, you can see even with all the support, one unit of Furies can get a weapons team. Almost finished, but I barely managed to keep these guys alive. Might be able to get some more volleys out of them, which is going to be really great. Over here, I try to cast a Plague without a net. You can see my opponent is immediately trying to move out of the way. Pull all of their units. Looks like I pulled a unit out of the way too. A bit of a mistake there. I am going to catch the corner of a unit here, so Plague will still get some nice damage, and they are running back through it, which is pretty perfect for me. Over here, my opponent called in a unit of Bile Trolls. These guys apply a melee debuff to the area, I believe, and we'll be able to do some nice work. But I have the Storm Vermin Halberds with their anti-large on top of them, so that'll be nice. Globes over here might get one more volley before they disappear. That would be very nice on their low HP. Yep, gonna get another chuck in, do a lot of damage immediately to this Forsaken unit, is even on their low HP. My opponent does get a unit Marauder Horseman on top of them, which likely is going to be the end of them. Net going down here from the Warp Grinder, just trying to do some damage onto the surrounding units. Mutant Rat Ogre is going to do a lot of damage to these Plague Trolls. Excuse me, especially with the halberds on top of them. That's a lot of anti-large. That's going to be able to shut those guys down pretty well. Rattling Gun, the ROR, the Teeth Breakers, has come out and zeroed in onto my opponent's Lord. You're going to get a lot of damage in. I pull in the Hell Pit, probably line of sighting and blocking my own shooting in the process, unfortunately. But my opponent does pop out, so we'll take another volley coming in with the withering accuracy from the gold chevrons of the Teeth Breakers. Might be able to get my opponent's Lord here, we'll see, but I think he's going to get away. Over here, another net from the Warp Grinder going on top of the Demon Spew, and then popping another Plague on top of them, getting a ton of damage in onto these guys. Not an overcast, so just the 12 Winds of Magic for the basic Plague cast, but nearly killing the elite infantry or the Demon Spew, who have the Swarm of Flies ability built in. But they're still hanging on, so going to have to rout them. Over here, the Plague Priest beating down these Pestigores. The Plague Monk Censer Bearers still in there, still fighting alongside the Storm Vermin, the elites of the Skaven world. Volley going to finish off the Demon Spew from the Furies. From the Rattling Guns, turning them onto the Furies now. Got to get some fire in to slow them down, apply the suppression effect from the Rattling Guns, and just do some damage. Veil of Shadows going to go down down once again and push this unit away. My opponent sees that and decides to try and get some other value. Nice play here from my opponent. Sees Veil of Shadows, will make the damage inept against the Rattling Guns. Decides to finish off the Poison Globe. Still get some value out of those Furies. Really nice play. Stream of Corruption still going down, also healing the entire Nurgle army as it does so. Here, the Storm Vermin fighting into the trolls here. I believe my Sensor Bears are finished off now. Yeah, finally routing. Doing okay, though. I summoned another unit of Sensor Bears. They're a nice unit into these Chaos factions. They have armor piercing, so they'll trade okay into Forsaken. Magic damage and their leadership debuff, they do okay into most targets as long as they're not getting hit by spells or shot to pieces. Over here, my opponent threw a couple tattered units to try and tie up the Rattling Guns. Never a bad idea. It does slow them up for the moment, but now going to pull back his infantry as he sees I have a lot of units back here to protect my guns. I still am triple capped, and the points are running away from me this whole time. I've not been able to capture the middle. My opponent trickling in capture weight here with the Nurglings. That's 5 capture weight. Pestigors 5 more or capture weight. Over here you have 5 more capture weight. The Rad Ogres, the Clan Molder Beasts, coming in, diving in and doing some damage. The Skaven lore and the different clans I find really amusing, and it is very funny in the books for Total Warhammer lore. Skaven are kind of an incredibly powerful race in the Warhammer world who at any point could probably destroy many of the other races. But the different clans and different warlords are so divided and scheming that they can never quite coordinate to get anything done, and usually in a hilarious manner in the books, like in the Gotrek and Felix books, the 2 main characters will be fighting the Skaven, and they'll be finally cornered by the Skaven warlord who will like pull out his warp lightning cannon to shoot, but then it will turn out his engineer actually didn't give him any ammo because he was afraid of the ascending political kind of like reputation of that character. So they're always taking themselves out by their own demise, which I think is a bit accurate to gameplay. Usually with weapons teams, you're killing your own units. Over here, trying to take the objectives now. I have a very solid value lead, but I need to turn it into capturing actual objectives, or this stuffing strategy that my opponent did, and so often these chaos factions will do, will be my undoing. So pushing here with kind of my hero core, my Master Assassin Lord, full health unit of Sensor Bears, and the Rad Ogres, but also the Hell Pit Abomination onto Objective 3, while on the backfield pushing with Rattling Guns, some Wolf Rats and Rad Ogres to try and take Objective 1. My opponent, very smart play here. They're parking their capture weight on the back of the objective so that my capture weight won't apply, but also staying away from my Teeth Breakers. They're pulling the Chariot back, really nice micro to avoid the Rat Ogres, but the slow effect from the Rattling Guns might give me the pick there, and they're going to try and trade some units here, maybe take out some capture weight by routing my Rat Ogres, and a nice Stream of Corruption there hits both my units. Really great cast. Meanwhile, over on Objective 3, the Brawl is ensuing. The Hell Pit Abomination going to do some nice damage into the Bile Trolls. Plague cast without a net, hoping my split attention from the 2 objectives will make it so my opponent does not see this spell, and it looks like they don't. So they do eventually, or possibly just had a attack order with the Marauders. Probably should have dropped it on top of the Forsaken rather than trying to catch both units. Ends up doing some nice damage though, so I'll take what I can get. I do take Objective 1. The Teeth Breakers are going to get a huge volley off on my opponent's Lord. Finally take him down in his own pile of little lake of filth he was captured in himself. So now I just need to clean up this Chariot and move back to Objective 2, which I have some units coming towards to the capture. But now I just need to take Objective 3. My little Doomstar here is starting to roll through these demon units. The magic damage, oh no, my Plaguemon Sensor Bears, I was about to say they're doing well, but they got finished off by all the Forsaken and damage here. Hell Pit Abomination, Mass Master Assassin, and the Rat Ogres are trying to carry the day here, clean things up. Summons, I called in just any units I can. Skaven infantry at 38 speed are faster than base infantry for most armies. Forsaken are pretty fast, but even they are a little slower than Skaven infantry. So I should be able to call in some units. Plague going down once again, but you can see without the net, usually a good opponent will just pull back from it. Here, a lot of them are caught in melee, so I think it will still be able to do some damage, which will be nice, and finish off this unit of Forsaken. And once a unit routes, it loses capture weight on the objective, so that might give me a chance to capture this before these elite infantry come for Nurgle, their reinforcements. Sitting over just any units I can, Skaven slaves, plague monks, more Skaven slaves. In the middle, we were able to rout off these chaos chariots with the rat ogres and plague monks, and these teeth breakers have really just been carrying the day now that my opponent has stopped summoning in furies, just dominating any unit that comes into their vicinity. My opponent stops summoning in furies because they need capture weight to try and hold the objectives. Objective 3 is in my control now, so excuse me, that's going to give me the advantage here. My opponent can capture it back. They would have to hold it for 2 minutes, which would be quite a long time without their lord, but the value gap isn't too large. So if they were able to get something out here that was able to, say, deal with the Hell Pit Abomination, or if my lord were to go down to the Demon Sphere right now, that would likely be the end of things. And it's a long time I have to hold with the triple cap to try and win this one. Wolf Rats charging into Forsaken, even with their low HP, might lose that one, but I say that the Wolf Rats are doing pretty good. Over here, the Pox Riders of Nurgle, looks like they had a heal ability going down. Fighting a lot of units here in the woods. Skaven slaves, plague monks, rat ogres, trying to take them down. Hell Pit Abomination going to be doing some nice damage. Maybe getting a terror out on the Demon Sphere. That would be huge right now. My heroes are taking a lot of damage from these elite Forsaken. So I need to free them up. Losing my lord now would be pretty devastating for myself. Over on the flank, looks like just some rat ogres chasing some chaos chariots. A warp grind catch going down here at a low HP unit. Gotta let the Hell Pit come in and get a terror out here on this unit. Love to see that. And more rats pouring in from my home objective is going to get me the win. So that was a very fun one. You could see the combination of the various units, like the Veil of Shadows, the Warp Grinders, can allow those weapons teams to keep humming even into this armored infantry with high DPS spam. So let's see how the units did. Master Assassin, he got his value back. I think he cost about that much. Probably got that damage from going after the enemy lord. The Plague Caster did tremendous damage at 1800. Mostly that was from a couple catches with the Plague spell combined with the Warp Grinder, but there was a few kind of loose plagues too on units. My opponent did pull back whenever they had a chance. Very nice micro, but that spell just does a lot of damage. It was very devastating. Plague Monks did okay. The Storm Vermin did actually quite nice. Death Globe, just from its couple volleys, got its value back. The Hell Pit Abomination did fantastic. It's cool to see that unit do well. It regenerates. It can, on death, rebirth its health. It has a lot of utility. I'm not sure why it doesn't get as much play. Can't take it into shooting factions quite as much. Plague Monk Sensor Bears did okay, got targeted down. The Teeth Breakers did fantastic at 2200. For my opponent, the Forsaken did pretty nice, chewing down some units. His caster did pretty well. I think he cost about that much and was healing up the whole army. But the mass and mobility did get bullied by the Teeth Breakers, and the Hell Pit of a great value. Maybe some more Marauder Horsemen would have been nice there. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you next time.